Obviously, the Eagles are favorite, and we've officially hit the double-digit win mark. I'm so pumped about that.
Look at that.
First time in a long time.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
we were talking about the line before the game, 7.5. Do you think that's a bit big? I think it's a bit big.
That when you said that to me right before we started the show, I was expecting it to be like more like maybe 4.5 or even 3.5. But yeah, no, I think that that's a little big. I think that the Giants are going to. I mean, we were able to see them put another 30 something points on the board, and we haven't even like they did that twice already, and we're like, yeah. See, I that's why I was thinking three and a
And that's
half.
from an Eagles fan.
Yeah. So I feel like they could give them a run for their money, and they're obviously showing that they can get points on the board. Maybe it's because of the defense going up against a different type of defense, but I don't know. I think that that's a little too big though.
I agree. Saturday night at 8:15 p.m. People say, "Oh, Eagles had a bye last week." Well, the Giants had their bye in week 18, essentially. Um,
Yeah.
I'll admit I was wrong. Starting the backups was the right move for the Giants, even though I wanted them to start because I really wanted to beat the Eagles. But now I see the big picture, and we're meeting the Eagles again.
And the age-old saying, right? It's hard to beat a team 3 times in one season.
Especially in the division, in the playoffs. Like that
Yep.
is what is like killer, you know. Um, they barely got by us the last time with our backups. You know, we know Jalen was at 100%. Lane Johnson didn't play in that game. Um, I still don't think either of those guys are 100%, but it was just declared today Lane Johnson will play. As Brian Attard would say, Lane Johnson's the best player on their offense. um,
Yeah. I
over
think
Jalen.
Jordan also made that point a couple weeks ago, talking about Lane Johnson and how they wouldn't be able to function as a team really or an offense without him.
Yeah. I was good to just get us healthy. Noah says, my heart says the Giants. My head says the Eagles in a close one. We'll get to our predictions momentarily in a few minutes from now, but I want to talk about Brian Dable against Sam, and I want to circle back to this because a lot of people don't know he has playoff experience as an assistant. He's won 5 Super Bowls as an assistant. Um, Actually, it might be 3. I have to fact check that, but his record in the NFL playoffs is 24-7. He was 23-7 as an assistant. Now he's 1-0 as a head coach. Um, this guy's here to stay. He is absolutely here to stay. And also, let's talk about the comment Isaiah Hodgins made. I don't know if you saw the comment, but I thought this was very interesting. During the week, it was reported by Tom Rock from Newsday that when Isaiah Hodgins was teammates with Josh Allen last year, even before Brian Dable and Joe Shane came here in mid-January, he said the Bills would pull up Giants film to watch Daniel Jones.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not hear that. Look at that. That's interesting. Huh.
It is interesting. Daniel says Lane probably 80% at the moment. And what do you think about Hodgins? I think he's a lock to be on the team next year. I know people are worried, but I keep reminding him he's on a rookie contract. They don't have to sign him. They could just let him ride out the rest of his rookie contract and let him play it out before making a decision. They don't have to make a decision this year. If they want to keep him next year, just keep him next year. They have nothing to do, you know?
Yeah. No, I would see Hodgins sticking around, Slayton not, and Hodgins starting to fill in that role because I mean, unfortunately, Sterling Shepard, as much as we love him, is really riding out the last of his years, sitting on the bench because of injury. So, maybe Isaiah Hodgins can be this new wide receiver that shows up and shows out when we need him, like Sterling Shepard has for the past few years, and becomes that veteran presence eventually in the locker room. I would think that that's great, even if we do get some sort of star receiver or a rookie receiver in the draft, whatever it is. I love Isaiah Hodges, and I think that he's doing a great job.
And the trap song that Pittsburgh Steelers fans aren't too happy about, because apparently we stole that from them. The locker room dance that's led by Hodgins and
What do
Shep.
you mean we stole it from them? It's a
I don't know.
song.
I know. By the way, did you see, since we're just talking about like quotes and random stuff, did you see Jihad Ward on the airplane taking the video of Daniel Jones? And he's like, on the
Yes.
this is the night that they won the game.
Yeah, they were on their way back to New York, and he's like hunched over, obviously like already locking in for next week. And he's like literally has to physically like move his headphone or like taps his headphone, like, dude, hello. And finally, Daniel Jones sits up and he's like, what?
He's like a deer in the headlights too. Like he looks just like Eli Manning sometimes. I have to tell you, like
Really
the two of them.
does.
But he's a lot more athletic. He's a lot more athletic version than Eli Manning. Yeah, I just love when Jones looks up and he looks scared as hell because Jihad Ward
throws up the peace sign and he's just like, what?
Yeah, Jihad Ward's a scary looking dude, but he's a funny one as well. We definitely like Jihad Ward. Some back and forth in the comments section right now. I think I know where you guys are going with this. Didn't Dable win a national championship with Bama? That's right. He was Tua's offensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe, Noah or Daniel, you correct me if I'm wrong, Dable played a role in benching Jalen Hurts for Tua that caused Jalen Hurts to transfer
to Oklahoma.
I think that's what happened with that.
I love that storyline so much.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Hodgins is a stud. Noah, as the Georgia fan, says thanks to Mr. Tua. Delete this comment, Dan. Daniel says, nah, I'm good. Chris disapproves. For those of you who don't know, no, Chris is Noah's real name.
Wait, I didn't even know that.
Yes. Noah's real name is Christopher.
Well, there you go.
Little fun fact. But as Hank would typically go over the series history tonight, Sam, I think it's time that you and I both go over it.
Let's do it.
History is on our side. Since 1990, the Giants are 6-0 against the 1 seed in the NFL playoffs. But the Eagles now lead the all-time series 91-87-2. The Giants held the series edge for years up until the Plaxico incident happened in 2008. Giants have been 6-23 since that. But these two teams, even though they're divisional rivals in the same conference, they haven't met often in the playoffs since the NFL merger, Sam. It's only been 4 times, with 1981 being the first time where the Giants won 27-21. In 2000, the divisional round at the Meadowlands at Giants Stadium, 20-10, they beat the Eagles. And that was the game where the Giants scored 20 points without scoring an offensive touchdown.
Wow.
Yeah, that was Ron Dixon, opening kickoff return for a touchdown, and then Jason Sehorn. We all remember Jason Sehorn, who was that acrobatic cornerback who wanted to be a safety, wanted to be a linebacker. They said, no, we want you to try corner. And he did, and it worked out for him. You know, Jim Fossil liked him. Sehorn had that pick 6 in that game. But in 2006, the Eagles won 23-20 in the wild card round over the Giants with backup quarterback Jeff Garcia. Ousted Eli Manning. That was a 3-6 game. The Giants were the 6th seed, and that was the last game of Tiki Barber's NFL career back in 2006. That was the last time the Giants played a playoff game in Philly, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we have the infamous 2008 divisional round game. Giants are the 1, Eagles are the 6. Eagles beat the Giants 23-11, ending the Giants' chance of back-to-back Super Bowl championships.
There you go. There you go.
So all-time, it's 2-2 in the playoffs. 1-1 in the divisional round, 1-1 in the wild card round.
This is like such a that's why it just goes to show numbers. Toss up. This game is, in my opinion, I think it's a toss up.
Especially because it's a divisional game. What year was the Eagles? That was in 06, Daniel. Yep, that is correct. I'm surprised, Daniel. You were much older than I was for that game. Deanna says hi. Hi, Deanna.
Hi, Deanna.
I'm going to probably check my phone soon at some point, too. Probably be a smart idea. In week 18, Sam, I'll be honest, I slept through the second half of the game. I did not watch it. But
it was pretty not that exciting.
No. But in week 14, the Eagles blew out the Giants. They blew them out. By far, Big Blue's worst loss of the season. The Eagles jumped out to a 21-0 lead in the second quarter. I thought Daniel Jones still had a decent game despite getting hit 12 times. But the big key, Sam, here was Saquon Barkley was held to just 28 rushing yards. And clearly that cannot happen again if we're going to win this football game. That's huge. He has to be able to get lots of positive yardage on the ground to keep Jalen Hurts on the sideline.
Yeah. I was at that game. I went with Sporty Jordy. We were there for work, and I was present for that monstrosity of a game. But I'm almost happy that it happened because we now know all of the mistakes that were made and can be applied for this game, which is incredibly more important. I genuinely think that we can utilize that game because they embarrassed us on our home turf. We had the Fly Eagles Fly chant going through that stadium. It was preposterous. I was so unhappy with that game, but that just goes to show we know that Miles Sanders can run all over us. We know that Devontae Smith will just pop out of nowhere and end up in the end zone. Like, we know all these things now that we didn't, I guess, going into that game, or we didn't we didn't use the defense well enough, or whatever it may be. We can now apply that to this game, and this game is the one that matters at this point.
100%, and we can't give up 253 rushing yards again defensively. I think that will be corrected. This season, couple quick hits before we get into keys to the game. Eagles are 7-2 at home. Giants are 4-4 on the road. The Eagles have the second-ranked offense in the NFL. Giants are 18th, so they're towards the middle of the pack. Rushing offense is very similar. Giants are 4th. Eagles are 5th. Eagles have the third-ranked defense along with 8 Pro Bowlers. 6 of them are starters. Tough. I don't know. This clearly was the best team in the NFL in the regular season.
Yeah.
They might have the league MVP on their roster. Who knows? I don't think he is, but he had a really, really good season. He was fantastic. We can't say enough good about Jalen Hurts and what he did this season, and we saw he was missed in those 2 games that Minshew started.
Yeah.
He was missed heavily.
Incredibly. Yeah. Like, who knows what their record would have ended with if Jalen Hurts didn't get hurt. Yes, they did have this bye week to rest up and recover, but the concern there is still Jalen's shoulder, and I just, it's hard to come back from that in a short amount of time. So, and he played week 18. So we'll see what kind of happens on that front, but who knows?
One last quick hit. This is not going to be popular amongst Giants fans, but the Giants have not won in Philadelphia since 2013. So, mountain to climb.
Definitely. No, it's definitely a tough place. As someone who I've never been to Link, but seeing the way that the Eagles fans were in MetLife, I can only imagine the energy that's going to be in that stadium in Philly. So it's going to be an incredibly tough road game.
We know Eli's going, which he vowed to never go back there. Eli Manning will be there in attendance.
He said he was going to get a bunch of. Did you see that? He was like, everybody's going to flip me off. And that time that he flipped everyone off on the Manning cast.
I did see that. And he threw some shade at Teddy Bruschi Monday night on the Manning cast. Yeah, he said hey Teddy, he brought up the Super Bowls, so
Okay, yeah.
yeah, because Teddy was talking about his favorite moment, and Eli's like, "You sure this wasn't your favorite moment?" Um, but let's get into our keys of the game. And Sam, I'll start with you. Give me two keys to the game, two or three that you think are really important in order for the Giants to come out on top.
I would say to cover a couple of bases, I know our offensive line has been incredibly improved this year, but they need to show up as like literally an all-star offensive line in this game. We need to make sure that Daniel Jones stays on his feet. We need to make sure that, there are openings for Saquon Barkley because those are the guys that are going to put the points on the board for us. And it's we've seen the way that they can perform when they are protected and when there are opportunities. So, and this defense is tough. It's a very tough defense to go up against. So, we talked about Andrew Thomas last week being an incredible left tackle. And I want him to continue being that. Evan Neal's got to leave it all out on the field on Saturday night. I really need that to be a brick wall because and we saw Daniel Jones got sacked 3 times last week. Like he was able to perform with it, but if he's on the ground, like it's not going to work out and the momentum's going to be lost. So that's I think the biggest thing. And then on the other side of the ball, making sure that Miles Sanders and Boston Scott don't run all over us. Like we need to make sure that that run game gets completely stopped. And we were able to utilize our defense to stop someone like Justin Jefferson. Let's reorganize a bit and stop someone like Miles Sanders. Yes, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown obviously are incredibly, utilized targets, but at that week 14 game, I mean, I just saw Miles Sanders all over the place, and I just don't want to see that again. So I would say those are the two most important things for me from each side of the ball.
I agree. Stopping the run is very important. Like you mentioned, Sanders had 144 yards in Week 14, and we know Boston Scott is a Giants killer. And then protecting Daniel Jones, we know we have All-Pro Andrew Thomas, but the Eagles have 4 players with 11 or more sacks. Hassan Reddick with 16, Hargrave, Sweat, and Graham all with 11 each. For me, I think it's something that was just brought up in the comments section, actually, if I could find it. Daniel brings it up here. Daniel Jones's running ability will be a big deal for this game.
Absolutely.
Get him involved early. He really had over 80 rushing yards last week if you take away the 4 quarterback kneel downs towards the end of the game.
And he was the rushing leader.
He was. Saquon only had to carry the ball 9 times, and it wasn't part of the game plan going in. It's just sort of how the game unfolded against the Minnesota Vikings. TJ Edwards, 3rd-ranked linebacker on PFF this season, leads the Eagles with 159 tackles. He will have his hands full trying to stop both Barkley and Jones, along with Kaiser White, Reed Blankenship, and that back line as well. They're going to have a lot of issues stopping both Jones and Barkley together. Another key for me is winning the turnover battle. This is a very alarming stat for Philadelphia and their fan base. So if you're an Eagles fan, please listen. The Eagles have turned the ball over 9 times in their last 4 games. Now, granted, we know 2 of them were without Jalen Hurts, but 2 of them were with Jalen Hurts. The Giants have turned the ball over the least amount of times in the NFL this season. The Giants must win the turnover battle. We know Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is back healthy. He had 6 picks in 12 games this year, which was scary. But the Eagles' sloppy football this time of year doesn't win you games. It doesn't.
Nope.
Definitely a concern. Tudo, what's up?
Hello, Tudo.
And please slap all stinky boys loses out of me from the heart. I keep trying to listen to the Pretenders on Spotify, but it just keeps playing Eagles radio broadcast. Also, there was one other comment Noah brought up that wasn't that was kind of funny. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry I didn't pin this before. Breaking. League sources confirm that Groundhog's Day will be replaced with airing Minnesota Vikings playoff games to let everyone know that the season is over.
That's funny.
Jones needs to test the secondary. Yeah, I would agree. It starts with protecting Daniel Jones. We know he was hit 12 times in the first matchup. Gardner Johnson is back. Staying disciplined in terms of penalties will bring us over. I agree with that. That Dexter Lawrence penalty on the roughing the passer was not a good look. We know the Giants need to pressure Jalen Hurts, but it's going to be tough. They have 3 Pro Bowlers on their offensive line in Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, and second-year guard Landon Dickerson. They're all really, really good. And I think, Sam, what we saw last week, the Giants should only be sending 4 guys most of the game and blitz a little less because you want to contain A.J. Brown, I think, rather than getting Hurts's face. I mean, you want to pressure Hurts, of course, but
right.
I think containing A.J. Brown is key.
Mm.
And you'd rather have guys like Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins make big catch and tackle over the middle of the field and then just bring them down to less expose the secondary and the big plays for Philadelphia.
Yeah. I mean, similar to what we did with Minnesota. I think that would definitely work because A.J. Brown, if he gets the ball in his hands, it's not going to be good for us.
Can't spell skull without an L in there. That's right. It is a sick chant, though.
No, it is.
Like, you saw the Giants fans recording it on their phones. I'm like, this is awesome. And of course, I felt bad for Gabe, but only one of us could be happy.
Oh, well. Sorry, Gabe.
Big Boss Tommy, please shoot me and line me up next to Dex, Leo, Thibs, and Aziz. I promise you there won't be any team in the NFL or any league in the world that could face us off the field on their own power. Tudo, I'd love to see you on the football field with those guys. That would be awesome. But, Sam, let's get into our players to watch. I think since it's the playoffs, we may have to go with 3 each from each team.
All right.
We'll start with you here. Who are your 3 for Philadelphia?
For Philly, I'm going to say somebody that we actually don't have on the script. I'm going to say Boston Scott, only because we've seen for some reason today. So I was actually with Sporty Jordy today. We were at work together. So we were talking a lot about the game. And she said, and I heard it multiple times from multiple people, that Boston Scott is a Giants killer. Like, he shows up out of nowhere all the time playing the Giants and just at least gets 1 or 2 scores on the board. So I'm going to say Boston Scott because of the fact that we might sleep on him and he just needs to be covered no matter what, because they might throw him in, take Miles Sanders out, whatever switch play might be happening. And he, we can underestimate him. He's like very, very small, but he's very fast. So I'm going to say Boston Scott. I'm also going to say, I'm pretty sure I said him last time we played the Eagles, Brandon Graham, just because he's just going to go in and pressure Daniel Jones, and we really need that to not happen. And we kind of saw it in week 18 just a bit, but he's definitely someone that we need to keep an eye on. And for my third, I'll go top of the list here. I'll pick Jalen Hurts because of the fact that he's coming off a bye. He's like ready to play. He's zoned in. And I'm interested to see how he plays with his shoulder. I'm interested to see how he plays in the playoff game, because last year, obviously, that playoff game was garbage, just complete garbage. And we were even thinking that the Eagles were tanking for a draft pick in that game. So definitely see how his mindset's changed, how he's going to play this game coming off a bye, and overall how he just plays in general.
And 14-1 as a starter this year.
Yeah. Only 1 loss.
Lead. Yep. I think the 1 loss was to Washington, right? That was the one.
Yeah, that Monday night game, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like all of your picks. Jason says that the double motion in our red zone against Minnesota. I know the play he's talking about when Bellinger and James moved at the same time.
Oh God. Oh, we
That
didn't
was
even
bad.
talk about that. Oh,
That was bad.
I was so pissed about that.
Yeah,
Like that's I mean, I know Bellinger's a rookie, but like what a rookie mistake.
yeah, yeah. That was not good for DB, but I'd still take him over Evan Ingram.
Yeah. Oh wow, Evan Ingram's in the playoffs too. Who would have
I
thought?
mean, and both of them, Bellinger and Ingram, both scored touchdowns this week. So
Hey,
crazy.
I think Evan just needed a different scheme and a different team. He
Different
just
scenery. Yeah.
wasn't working over here.
Yeah. The life in Jacksonville is probably a lot less stressful than New York for him, but
Definitely.
to each their own. I'm going to go with AJ Brown as my first for Philadelphia. 23 big play receptions on the season, 11 touchdowns and nearly 1,500 receiving yards. He is ranked sixth out of all receivers on PFF this year. Um, he averages 4 catches a game against us. He's probably going to get somewhere between 70 and 100 yards if I have to guess. We have to contain him. He's very, very important. Lane Johnson, offensively, he will play on Saturday after suffering a groin injury. He did not allow a sack all year, but has not played since week 16 against Dallas. I'm interested to see how a banged up Azeez Ojulari will match up with a banged up Lane Johnson. That should be very interesting because Azeez had 2 sacks in the one game he played in against the Eagles this past season. And defensively, for me, it's Hassan Reddick, 16
Hmm.
sacks on the season in 6 career games against the Giants. This includes his time as an Arizona Cardinal. 6 sacks, 11 quarterback hits, and 3 forced fumbles. Very scary. Daniel has Bradbury, Goddard, and Leighton. We didn't even mention James Bradbury.
Yeah. Yeah.
Three picks, 17 passes defended. Darius Slay, that might be another one. That might be an honorary mention because he gave up a touchdown to Hodgins and Galladay in each of the 2 matchups in the regular season. So he'll be another guy to watch. But let's move on to the Giants. Sam, we'll start with you. Who are your 3 for Big Blue?
For the Giants. All right. First off, we'll go Isaiah Hodgins just because of how well he's been playing on our offense and how well he's being utilized. I hope he gets more scores in this upcoming game. I think he will get at least another score in this game. Isaiah Hodgins is somebody that will always be good, for us at least. I'll go Sexy Dexy for my second. Dexter Lawrence. I mean, just absolutely needs to lead this defense the way that he has been. Like, keep on keeping on, Dexter. You're doing an amazing job. And we're going to need that leadership on the field, especially going up against an offense like the Eagles. And finally, well, I'll go Saquon. Saquon obviously didn't get a ton of touches in the past game. He's kind of almost quieted down a little bit, but to continue utilizing him in that way, and maybe it's good that he's not getting as many touches, and then people might sleep on him. Then he takes off. So, really excited to see these guys play. And I'm really hoping that you say Daniel Jones there, Tom, because I left him there for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with the obvious in DJ. If you combine the playoff game with his 17 starts in the regular season, he really had 17 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, over 3,500 passing yards, and 7 touchdowns on the ground. The Giants have punted the ball just 3 times total in Daniel Jones's last 2 starts. He's been second among quarterbacks in Pro Football Focus grading since week 13 of the regular season. Um, 81% on target pass per attempt rate. That was the highest of any quarterback in the league this year. He has the 3rd highest completion percentage in the red zone, 12 touchdowns and just 1 pick. That 1 pick was in week 1 against the Tennessee Titans. I think he's so dangerous, Sam.
Hmm.
Throwing, running. I believe this will only be, if I'm correct, his second time playing in Philly this in his career because he missed the end of last season, 2021. 2020, I think he played there, and 2019, I don't think he did. So, yes, because Eli did. That was one of his 2 farewell tour games, Philly and Miami. So, yeah, 2020 was the only time he started a game in Philadelphia. So, this will be his second start in Philly. So, I'm definitely keeping an eye on him. I'm keeping an eye on Adoree Jackson. Before his injury, allowed just 33 yards per game. Got matched up against Justin Jefferson last week, played 85% of the snaps against him, allowed just 37 receiving yards. I'm excited to see how he does against A.J. Brown. I really am. I think it'll be good to watch him play. Who was your third, Sam? Was it Dexter?
I said Dexter, Hodgins, and Barkley.
Hodgins and Barkley. So I'm going to go with I'm torn between 2.
You can say them both.
Yeah, I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau's 1. He played 93% of the snaps against Minnesota. I think he'll be very important with Aziz not 100%. And Jason just mentioned it in the comments. As a DB, I'm constantly watching a Jackson and McKinney. Love how they played Jetta. I think they can do the same to Brown. Had a game-clinching tackle on Hawkinson last week. So I'm excited about that. And in 10 games this year, McKinney, 33 tackles, 6 passes defended. So we'll see how X performs. And Daniel has Andrew Thomas in his, along with Hodgins and Lawrence.
Nice. Definitely.
That's going to be big because, I forgot to mention Josh Sweat. I mean, the Eagles have so many good pass rushers. When you have 4 players with 11 or more sacks, it's very, very tough to guard. But injury report time before we get into our game predictions. For Philadelphia, Lane Johnson will play. That is good news for them. Linval Joseph practiced in full. Robert Quinn was limited. Brandon Graham did not practice with a back injury. He'll likely play, though. Avonte Maddox with a toe injury did not practice. For the Giants, everyone was limited or better, including Azeez Ojulari, who they expect to play. Jason Pinnock, who got hurt in last week's game, practiced in full with an abdomen injury, which is good because I think wasn't Pinnock, was he carted off or something happened with him in the game? I forget what happened.
Yeah. Did he get carted off?
In the helmet? He got hit in the helmet maybe? Or
yeah, he might have. I don't think it was as intense, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Collins, little ankle issue. Hodgins, we saw his ankle blow up in.
Did you see that picture?
Yeah.
Oh, that was before the game even started. It was black and blue like that.
And he's playing on it. He had 8 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown on that ankle against Minnesota. Fabian Moreau with the hip. So we'll see. We'll see. And Jason has another comment. He says Golladay could be some use in the red zone. What about that block he threw?
No, amazing. Wow. It was like Kenny showed up finally for the playoffs. We're like, yay. Good for you, Kenny.
That was a $72 million block right there on the DB. But it's time. Our game predictions. We're going to start off with the man who's not here tonight. Our third co-host, Hank Indictor, makes his prediction from his car just hours before he arrived at MSG.
All right. So obviously, if I'm not here with you on Big Blue Avenue, you guys know where I am. But don't think for a moment that I wasn't going to give you guys my prediction for this Saturday's game against the hated Philadelphia Eagles. And look, I'm going to just say right off the bat, this game is going to be an absolute bloodbath. We are not going to see a high-scoring game like we saw in Minnesota. Personally, I just hope the Giants can still have a chance come the fourth quarter, but unfortunately, I have a bad feeling This is where our season ends and the unfortunate losing streak in that awful city continues. But on the silver lining, this will be a game that the Giants will build on in the future. And trust me when I say the G-men are headed in the right direction. I am absolutely confident in that, and I have not said those words in God knows how long. But in other words, my final score, I have the Eagles winning, I'm going to say 19-17. Have a good one, guys.
Well, Hank picks the Eagles.
Hey, Hank picked the Vikings last week.
And that usually works to our advantage. Daniel also picks the Eagles, 24-21. Will be a close game. Sam, who are you taking?
I actually didn't have a prediction coming into this show. I was gonna let the show kind of flow and kind of figure it out along the way. And I have decided that I am going with the New York Giants. I am picking the New York Giants to win this game. I think our momentum is there. It's like one of the bad things about a bye week is that, yes, you get to rest, but like, that's one less week of you playing football. I just feel like, our momentum's there, our confidence is up. And I do think it's going to be tight, but a little bit more higher than what Hank was thinking. I'm thinking 27-24. Graham Gano comes in and kicks a game-winning field goal for us. And that's what I'm feeling. In Philadelphia, Giants win and head to the championship conference game. So that's what I'm going to go with.
In 2007, the Giants played Dallas in the divisional round after losing to them twice in the regular season. The Giants lost both meetings, and Dallas was riding high. They were the 1 seed. The Giants, they were a wild card. And, I can't help but imagine this team is similar to that in many respects. The thing is, we can't view this team as a rebuilding team at this time. I think Philadelphia is clearly the better team on paper. They have the better roster. They have the better defense. But the law of averages points to the Giants in this game. My boss came up to me this week and said, I think you guys are going to pull it out. I'm just like, I don't know if I see it. I really don't know. I mean, since in our lifetimes, the Giants, they've never lost a playoff game in a year that they've won one. So if they've won one playoff game, they've at least gone to the Super Bowl. It's either been one and done or the Super Bowl since 1993. That's how crazy history has been. History, yes, at some point it's meant to be broken, but in this game, I can't talk this long about my prediction and not pick the Giants, so I'm going to. Revenge for 2006. Eventually, all records come to an end, and the Eagles' undefeated record against the Giants in the link since 2013 will come to an end. Giants win 23-20 in overtime.
Ooh. Oh, my heart won't be able to take that.
Yep. How I feel. After the Giants beat the Vikings, I said, there's no way we're beating Philly. But as the week progressed, Sam, it just started to make more sense to pick the Giants because usually in the championship weekend, there's one team that's there that like you sort of don't expect to be there, I guess you would say. And I don't see the 49ers losing. I don't see the Chiefs losing. And then the Bills-Bengals game, I mean, whoever wins that game, I don't think we're going to be surprised. So this might be that one game, And Jason comes in here and says, wow, he's saying 31 points on that Eagles defense. If we can kill the clock and the way we did against Minnesota, we're looking good. Our second quarter drive was almost 10 minutes.
It's another key, getting the Eagles off the field.
That's right. Keep them off the field, limit their opportunities. But so Sam and I picked the Giants. Hank picks the Eagles. That's going to wrap up our show for the week. We appreciate everybody watching. If you haven't already, check out our film review from the wild card round. Had some good plays on there. If you like what you watch, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at Big Blue Avenue, and subscribe to our Facebook page and all our social media under Review and Preview Sports. Sam, any parting words before we get ready for Saturday night?
All I know is what happens is that next week I'm gonna have a hard week at work with Jordan. So whatever happens, let's hope it's just in the favor of the Giants.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. Hoping for the best, cautiously optimistic heading into
Yes.
this. Believe, and it might happen. Let's do it our way. Folks, thank you all. Let's go Giants. Without further ado, let's go Big Blue.